So coronavirus is happening, and up until this week I was a scientist doing a PhD working in a lab, and now this is where I work, in my living room. So I think everyone's lives have significantly changed recently. I know a lot more people are working from home, and I myself have began to shift from lab-based stuff into being a stay-at-home scientist. So yeah, I think we're planning to be working from home for a significant period of time, and I thought I would make the most of it. There's been a lot of adaptations recently. My lab has been really good actually at getting things together. My boss has been very organised. We've already had our first Skype lab meeting, which was good, other than the technical problems of getting everyone sorted, which I think always happens in the first Skype meeting. I think a lot more people will be using virtual lab meetings in the near future. So I myself have a journal club on Monday that I'm going to be presenting for. That's what I'm preparing for now. So I think everyone's coping with coronavirus in different ways. I personally am reading quite obsessively and trying to get into the science of it to better understand it. I feel like that's how I cope with things, is obsessively understanding them. Some people are taking it really hard. Some scientists as well are taking it really hard. When we were in to tidy up the lab, there was one guy who was really mad that the labs were closing down. They felt like they had something to contribute, and I totally get that. I feel like it's a really difficult call to do a lot of these things, like closing down the labs. I'm going to work on the journal club that I actually have to do for Monday for a little bit, and then I will come back. I'll get back to work and check it later on. So the lab that I'm in has been functioning quite well as a stay-at-home lab. We have a Google Calendar which managed to organise us shutting down the lab, so we were able to systematically write on the calendar who was going in for what, and no one was in the same space at the same time. So we were able to social distance over this week to make sure everything was shut down safely, but no one was in the same room at the same time. So Google Calendar has been fantastic. We also have had our first Skype lab meeting, so I feel like now Skype is set up for us. That's going to be grand. On Monday I am presenting a journal club. This was already scheduled, and I have a little timesheet set up. It's basically just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and like a to-do list for that day. It's nothing fancy, but I think it's good to keep a record of what you're doing if you're working from home for any future requirements. So today I also wanted to go through some coronavirus journal club and just take you through a few things that I've seen recently. So I have a little thread here about patient 31. So South Korea has announced thousands of coronavirus cases in the space of only a few days in late February. The surge was mostly around one main cluster in a church. So patient 31 here has infected 1,160 people who were traced. So it's not clear when they became infected, this patient, but in the days before their diagnosis, on the 6th of February, she is in a car accident and was hospitalised the next day. So when she was hospitalised, she drives home to get personal items and then returns to the hospital. After that, she develops a fever. She attends church on the 9th of February and stays for 2 hours. She has a buffet at a hotel, travels by taxi to lunch with a friend, attends church again, and then goes to a public clinic to get tested. So she then tests positive and is announced as case 31 on the 18th of February. So during these church services that she was at, there was a total of 9,300 people that were there, and 1,200 of them were experiencing flu-like symptoms. So this just goes to show that it's absolutely essential to be social distancing. If you're going to crowded places, you could not know if you've got the virus or not, because it takes 5 days before the symptoms show. So the other Twitter thread I saw that I really liked was @viruses immunity on Twitter. Professor Akiko Iwasaki. It's basically addressing the UK government, saying that they were wanting to do herd immunity. So I have an undergrad degree in immunology. I'm by no means an expert in disease control and this, but Herd immunity is something that is to do with vaccines. It's when the whole population is immune, not going to catch it because of a vaccine. So to use the phrase herd immunity with getting infected, it just is completely unfathomable. So this is a thread on herd immunity. So it says, there's a lot of talk about herd immunity. Vaccination is the only safe way to achieve it. In the absence of vaccine, we need to practice social distancing. And BioRender have made this amazing infographic to explain how a hypothetical virus spreads through the population. So this is basically a graphic about herd immunity and why herd immunity only works if you actually have a vaccine. It's pure insanity to talk about herd immunity in the context of coronavirus because it wouldn't be immunity, it would be mass infection. So herd immunity describes indirect protection from infectious disease when a large percentage of the people in a population are immune to the pathogen. The percentage threshold of immune individuals required for herd immunity depends on how contagious, R0, the pathogen is. In the absence of vaccination, the virus will spread quickly and kill people, while the recovered will be immune. With social distancing, more will survive. Many more will survive. Trying to achieve herd immunity through natural infection will put millions of lives in danger. This incubation time, 4 to 14 days, is really what's causing all the problems. So people are going about their lives being infected and not having a clue that they're actually infected. I should go and start the lighting. The sun is setting. I will be. And I just thought this catting the curve was beautiful. So it was posted by Anne-Marie Darling, and she said, a lot of sciencey folk are posting this graph, but there's one thing I've learned from being on the internet, it's this: data and graphs are not compelling. Kitties are compelling to many. So I present hashtag catting the curve. So it basically just shows that if you've got a steep curve, yeah, the cat's gonna pounce, and if you've got a lazy kitty, it's much better for everyone. So I thought that was super cute. So that's about all I have to say. I'm now a stay-at-home scientist and I'm adapting quickly. Our lab seems to be doing things very efficiently, and yeah, I'll check in later and see how things are going. So in the meantime, stay safe. Feel free to stick around. I usually talk science, and I think I will be doing more coronavirus updates as we go and as I adapt to becoming a stay-at-home scientist. So yeah, I will catch you in the next video.